The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at WrestlingWithJohners.com.
All right, everybody, welcome to another exciting edition of Ring Around the Jabroni on today's 50th birthday of The Rock. So happy birthday to him.
Happy birthday, Dwayne.
Yes, happy birthday. With us, we got from Bucklebomb Entertainment.
Man, how are you going to see me in there?
We got
Sorry, that's my little one.
Jay. Jay, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic this afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. From Peaches and Powerbombs, returning guest, Sarah Hirsch. How are you today?
Hi, I'm doing good.
Great.
Thank you.
And making his Ring Around the Jabroni debut, DDJ from. How are you today?
Doing all right. I got to say, props to whoever created your little animated intro with the Bucklebomb thing. I dug that. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I took part of something that friend of the Bucklebomb person, James Falcon, he created something similar. I took pieces of that, spliced it together with some stuff, and we got the brainchild there.
Sweet.
So, props to James for helping create that. Let's get right into the show, except for we'll do a little explanation first for those who aren't familiar or maybe tuning in for the first time. This will work like around the horn. We have a bunch of questions. Everybody here will debate. Top 2 answers each question will get a point. Top 2 point getters at the end of 6 questions. We'll move on to the final question. Let's get right into promos. Jay, what do you got coming up? What's good with you?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, of course, you guys know you can see me here on Bucklebomb Entertainment. We have the episode of, Acquired Tastes?
Mm-hmm.
On Wednesday, where we're doing the Flaming Hot Mountain Dew.
Season 2 premiere Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern.
I'm not a fan of spicy things, but I'm doing this with Sarah because I promised that I would. Hopefully we'll do some stuff that's not spicy soon, so we'll see what happens there. And of course, like Dennis is probably going to say later on, part of Shootin' Shit podcast, 1/3 of the group that does this amazing show that's on the Johners Podcasting Network, along with my main man down there, Dennis. But for today, Dennis, we're not friends, we're not co-patriots, we're not the greatest tag team in the world. We are enemies. And I just want to let you know that I hate to ruin your debut here, but I have to. And I'm going to win. And that is not a spoiler. It's a promise.
Mm. All right, well, let's get right into it. 2 minutes on the clock for each answer. Jay, you will get to go first on this one. WWE's new 90 days to progress policy. Pretty much they're taking new talent. You have to show promise or improvement in 90 days or you are gone. Is this a good way to weed out bad talent or potentially missing out on some good ones?
You're missing out on great talent by not giving them the chance to fully develop. Case in point, Parker Bordeaux, Harlan. Kid's got the look. When he first signed, I wasn't a big fan. I didn't like the look. I didn't like the kitty tattoos. They shaved his head, did a couple of shoots, and I'm like, okay, this kid here looks like he can be something. To drill that point further, man, Tay Conti. They released Tay Conti from the WWE when she was in NXT. She wasn't anything great. Look at to where she's progressed now into AEW. She's a legitimate title contender for that company. She is an intergender tag team champion in AAA. You give yourself these limitations of these 90-day contracts, and I get it's because they're trying to keep it fresh. They want the project fresh in NXT 2.0, but they're going to miss out on a lot of good talent by not letting them mature into what they could be.
Very good points. Sarah, how do you feel?
I could see them bending the rules when it comes to certain people on this. I do think it's a little unfair considering, but things always change. I think I don't know, just I kind of think of stuff like Tough Enough and the original NXT competition, and that I feel like they would miss out on good people, but at the same time they're going to bend the rules for those that they really like. I could see that happening. So there's pros and cons to that. We all know how WWE is. So yeah, I don't know if this is going to be a permanent thing or not, because I could see this going in either direction.
Fair enough. Dennis, how do you feel?
And I want to say that I agree with a lot of what both Sarah and Jovan had to say about that, because a lot of times, 90 days, it may not be enough time to kind of accurately gauge someone, whether if they have the talent, if they have the desire, if they have what it takes to succeed in the pro wrestling business. But kind of coming from a little bit of a different perspective, a lot of times when you start a new job, you're put on a probationary period, and that probationary period is usually 90 days. And that's kind of like, where that, your managers, supervisors, or whoever's above you kind of takes that time to evaluate, is this person worth investing my time into, helping this person develop and get to the next level. So when you think about it from that perspective, it's really not that much different than any other, 9-to-5 job or an office job, or basically any job that is and stuff. That being said, I think something like this is maybe is a little bit of a different, situation, because professional wrestling isn't the exact same as, working at Inintech, with TPS reports and everything. You're out there putting your body on the line and stuff. And a lot of times it takes some people, time to get warmed up and get used to it and stuff. So much like I believe Sarah had mentioned about, they may bend the rules, or, which I could see them doing that as well too. If it's someone that they really think can do it, they're going to give them a little bit of a longer leash. And it's kind of like that, really no other work. I don't see, I understand, why they do it, but at the same time, like also Jovan said, they're, they may miss out. Like, he used Tay Conti as a great example of, maybe not given enough time, and you look at what she's been doing now. So I can see why they're doing it, but much like I think was also said, I don't see this as something that is going to be, these office memos and everything seem to change about as much as Big Show and Kane go from being heels to faces. So we may know in a couple days that, that 2 weeks from now, it may be completely different.
Very good points. Dennis, I think you earned a point in this one, as well as Jay. Both you guys, good points.
All in good fun.
Sarah, you made some really good points, so I do want to say that. So
yeah, it's okay.
Really good points.
Like
Thank you.
So.
Sarah, you'll be first to go on the next question here. 2 minutes on the clock. Roderick Strong denied his release again after asking apparently a couple times. If you're at WWE, how do you book him from here on out?
In classic WWE fashion, they'll probably job him out, probably embarrass him the worst way possible. That's like the first thoughts that come to my mind. I really don't have a lot of good things to say about Roderick Strong, but yeah, that's like my first thought. Like they're going to probably, they're going to make an example out of him possibly, but then again, they might have, you never know. That's probably, if they don't book him on a show, they're just going to let him sit out his contract just because. I don't know. I don't know how much he's got on his contract or anything. So yeah, I could see them completely embarrassing him, or just be petty and just let him sit out his contract, pay him to stay home.
Very good possibility. Dennis?
So one of the things that I've heard coming out of this, I mean, first off, I'm not surprised Roderick Strong has asked for his release, because if you look at what happened, the mouthpiece of the Diamond Mine, Malcolm Bivens, was just let go on Friday. And it's just then a couple, I believe it was about a month or so ago, Hachiman, who was like the trainer or like his coach or whatever, was released. You look at Tyler Russ shortly, after Diamond Mine got off the ground, was released. So, I mean, the writing's kind of on the wall that this was going to happen with him and stuff. But from what I also had just recently read about this, is that the reason why he was denied his release is because he's viewed as, an important part of this programming and stuff. And I mean, the Diamond Mine can still be salvaged. And I mean, if they really want to make something with Diamond Mine, they need to keep what they have going. And I know, I believe it was last week on NXT 2.0 where Roddy was like, we got to make some changes to get back to our winning ways. So maybe this could just, I would honestly say if they want to salvage the Diamond Mine, they just keep the ball rolling. I mean, just put Roddy in charge, and maybe he goes into that William Regal type role with the BCC, where he comes out to the ring and he watches the guys and is like, he coaches, like the Creed brothers on, stuff to do, Ivy Nile, how to improve her, standing in the women's division. So I think you trot him out there, but maybe he's transitioned him maybe into a William Regal type role with what he's doing with the Blackpool Combat Club.
Okay. Good points. Jay?
I like what Dennis said, and I don't like what Dennis said at the exact same time, which is crazy. I like the idea of him trying to salvage Diamond Mine, but I don't want him to be a William Regal style of manager. He's Roderick Strong. This is a former ROH world champion, a former ROH TV champion. This dude is a star. He's got the moveset. He's not too far up in age where he doesn't, that he's not able to put it in between the ring. So, how I book Roderick Strong moving forward. Tonight, I do a big overhaul of the NXT 2.0 script. I scrap everything we had planned going on. Too many changes have happened, and we need to set something right. Tuesday night, the Creed brothers have a big match. This is the opportunity. You turn Roderick Strong heel. He's the reason they lose the match. Roderick Strong goes about saying, the Diamond Mine was weak because of the members. You give him another shot at this. You give him some upstarts. You give him some of these guys in NXT that they're wanting to push the newer talent. Have him recruit. Have him recruit a new Diamond Mine. Hell, have him change the name if he wants to. But you give Roderick Strong the ability to kind of push the reasoning that Diamond Mine was bad was the people. It even got Bivens, who was a great talker, thrown out of the company. That's how bad he was. That's how bad he was for this faction. Have him take that approach. Have him try to build it back up. Have them be a main heel stable. That's how you keep him happy. I think that's what they need to do. That's what they need to do to keep him happy. Because if they don't, it won't be long before Roderick Strong is all elite.
Very good points. Very good points. This is tough. Everybody's got different viewpoints, really good ones. I think I'm going to go with Jay and Sarah on this one for the points, though. All right. So next up, Sarah, what do you got going on? Time to promote your stuff.
Okay, well, Peaches and Powerbombs, we're kind of taking things a little bit at a time. As our viewers know, Tina's been having some health issues. So as long as she's feeling good, we're trying to do one every other week. We are in the process of trying to book guests on our show. I'm aiming for like a special guest interview once a month. we're looking forward to some other people we're going to invite for our live show down the road too as the summer moves on. But yeah, Peaches and Powerbombs, we go live on Facebook and YouTube. We're also on Instagram and Twitter. So please like, subscribe, and share. We're trying to make a presence and provide some good content that everybody could everybody could enjoy. So
Yes.
Peaches and Powerbombs.
And of course, we will link it in the description of our video. They do put out good stuff, so check them out. Next up, Dennis, you are going first. Xavier Woods, aka Austin Creed, has been teasing the return of Up, Up, Down, Down. Actually, he did confirm it about an hour ago. Up, Up, Down, Down is returning. That's his YouTube channel. I'm sure he must have gotten some deal where he can now get maybe a little more money off Twitch for that. Dennis, who do you think would make a good personality to be on that show, assuming they only keep WWE personalities? Oh, you're muted.
Mute.
Okay, my apologies. I forgot to unmute. So you definitely kind of narrowed it down there by restricting it to WWE. And some people that I can think about when I hear about video games, the first one I can think of, because I think she'd be really interesting, considering that one of the reasons why she initially was released from the WWE before resigning is Zelina Vega. I think she would be. I hear she's an awesome gamer. She's someone who's I think very over with that crowd that's WWE as well as a gamer. I think of her. Obviously, I think Kofi Kingston because again, Kofi Xavier, they have excellent chemistry on TV. On SmackDown. And obviously it carries over and, maybe you get a little bit of a different side of them with this, with this up, up, down, down. So them. And then the other one that I can think of, and is someone that we have not seen on TV in quite a while. I want to say, I think we're coming up on almost a year. Let's go with Bayley, because Bayley is a big time gamer as well too. And I mean, she's someone that the WWE universe is very much into. And I mean, again, you're not only getting that crossover appeal from those that are, wrestling fans, but those that are gamers as well too. So, I mean, you might as well just kill two birds with one stone, appease the wrestling fan as well as the gamer at the same time.
Very good. Jay?
Man, those are great picks. I mean, the return of Up, Up, Down, Down, this is a big thing. I'm going to take a twist on it, Dennis. I would love to see Zelina Vega. To me, that's the absolute choice. That's your go-to. But I want to switch it up. I think one of the best things about all the packages we saw about Mr. Brody Lee when he passed was all of his episodes on Up, Up, Down, Down. And you got to see everybody in the locker room who's playing games and the way they're getting into it and yelling at each other. And it was more than the ones that you just knew game. So I want something different. I don't want the obvious gaming choice. I want somebody with crossover appeal because, Xavier Woods, man, this guy's on G4. So who knows if Up, Up, Down, Down could be featured one day. You're going to want somebody who is going to drive that home. You want that larger than life persona that'll bleed through whatever they're doing. So for me, I'm going to go with the off the wall kind of choice here, but give me the boss, Sasha Banks, to be on it, man. I think her charisma, her persona will bleed off of the screens onto whatever they're doing. And I think it'll be a great pairing between them two.
Interesting pick. Sarah?
Yeah, I like the choices from both guys. Sasha's a gamer too, I think. That would be a good one. I definitely think the obvious pick is Zelina Vega. She's she's been to the cosplay stuff with them. She's really good at it. She's a gamer. She knows her stuff. And to be honest, I didn't know Up, Up, Down, Down was on a hiatus. but I do like the show. I catch it every once in a while. But, and Selena would be a choice. I could see Kofi or Big E because they all hang out together. I kind of liked seeing other people perhaps that you hadn't seen in a while. In addition to not seeing them, I feel like Up, Up, Down, Down could be a way for someone who's struggling to get over to go on there. And, that's one way to make them relatable because, video games make the world go round, in my opinion. I'm a Sega girl, so like...
Sega!
Yeah! Just... whatever they're playing or whatever, that's a good opportunity to get to know that person, especially if they're struggling to get over. We don't know who to if we're supposed to cheer for them or boo them, him or her, it doesn't matter. But I would like to see somebody like that. I don't know who does games, who doesn't, but it's a good opportunity for those type of people. I could see Selena Vega. I could see Sasha Banks. I could see Kofi, whoever. There was a ton of people on there the first go around. So we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
One real quick, just one thing, and I just thought of this while Sarah was talking. I think it also too, you could rotate people in and out depending on what like the game of what's in right now. Like you get around, like, because one person I thought of who was thoroughly entertaining, I would love to see more on would be Seth Rollins, especially around when like Madden's out, because he was a hilarious follow when they were doing the Madden tournament. So I just had to throw that. I was thinking about that when Sarah was talking. So
I think one person we got to get on there is the ultimate trash talker. You got to get Miz on some of those.
Yes.
But for
that
points,
would be funny.
For points, we're going Sarah with such a great answer there, and also Dennis for great answers.
Yeah.
Joe, I want to talk later about your answer.
Oh, it's because of Sasha Banks. I know.
I have no public comment. Jay, you get to go first on the next one here. We've had a few days to kind of sit back and reflect on this. Will Dax versus Cash be one of AEW's greatest matches of all time?
One of the greatest matches of all time for the company is going to be hard. There have been a plethora of amazing matches, and then thing is matches between two people who've known each other so well. You've got Dustin Cody, fantastic match. You put this right up there with that. Two guys who know each other's skill set, but with Dax and Cash, you dig deeper into the pantheon because of all the homage that was paid to Bret Hart during that match and Owen Hart during that match. Mm-hmm. The only thing that kind of keeps me from saying it will be was the finish. I'm a person who likes definitive finishes. Nothing against a roll-up. Like, that's the only way you could have really had that finish. But it's always been touted that Dax is the stronger one out of the two. Have him hit something that's, phenomenal feat of strength. Have him do a super delayed suplex. Have him do throw up in the air and catch him into a modified version of the big rig. Have him do something amazing and not a roll-up. I think that's the only thing that pushes it for me. But storytelling-wise, it's definitely up there in the upper tier. I think it'll be one of, but not top 10. Maybe top 15, but not top 10.
Okay. Sarah.
I'll agree with him on that one because the finish really threw me off. But I think with this match, I think wasn't Punk commentating on this match too. So you had all these different viewpoints from Punk, JR, Shivani, you had all that going on. In addition to the story they were telling in the ring, I felt like that highlighted that. And you can really tell that Cash was trying to outsmart Dax. And I think that's why the roll up was the finish. But like he said, that kind of threw me off. And I definitely think it is a great match. It really was. I very much enjoyed it. And it was only like a few minutes long. We've seen matches that lasted a little longer and was a lot better. But for the amount of time they got, you hear the term maximize their minutes. That's what they did. They're good at work. We know what a great tag team they are. They're great wrestlers. I thought it was good. Like Cody and Dustin was amazing. And I'm still raving over Jon Moxley and Wheeler Yuta. That was so good to me. Like, I'm not a hardcore person, but just for the story that was told, that, it was more of a payoff, I guess I could say. But, there was a lot of feels in that match too, with the tributes to Brett and Owen and all that. It was really good. I definitely think it could be a top 10 match. Is it the greatest match of all time? Yeah, that's debatable, but I would say it'd be up there in the top 10, top 15, top 20. I'd be all right with that either way down the road. They should do that.
Okay. Dennis, how do you feel?
Okay, so before I get into my what my answer is, I wasn't bothered by the end of that match because when you go back and think about it, this match was almost a carbon copy of the WrestleMania 10 match between Brett and Owen. And how did that match end? Basically what happened was Brett was going for a victory roll, I believe. And as he went under Owen dropped and pinned him. So it almost ended in the same way. So that's why the ending didn't really hinder my enjoyment. It actually made it even better because I figured if one of those two was going to win, it was going to be a fluke, and it's going to be like, I got you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what happened there. Now, going into whether or not this will be one of the greatest matches of all time, you got to kind of depend what the parameters are. Like you said, top 10, top 15, that kind of thing. Well, I think me, though, I don't think it will be. I think it's going to be one of those ones that's going to kind of eventually get lost in the shuffle. It's going to be like, The Rock versus Kurt Angle versus The Undertaker from Vengeance 2002, which a lot of people call one of the greatest triple threat matches the WWE ever put on. I think it's going to be one of those ones that like the real hardcore fans are going to remember, but it's going to kind of get lost in this, in the sands of time. And there's so many other matches that have already happened. Cody versus Dustin got mentioned. I'm going to go with the Bucks versus Hangman and Kenny Omega. I'm going to go with the Bucks versus the Lucha Brothers from All Out in the cage. I mean, there's so many other matches that I personally think are greater than this one. But anything I'm saying, it's not taken away from how good this match was because it was a really good match. I think it's one of those ones that's just going to be kind of like a casualty or something that just kind of gets lost in the shuffle because there's going to be so much other. I mean, you talk about other ones, CM Punk versus MJF from Dynamite, and then also the dog collar match. I mean, if there's going to be so many other matches that are just going to grab the mainstream audience attention, that this one I think is going to kind of get lost in the shuffle. So will it be one of the greatest matches or remembered as one of the greatest matches? Probably not, but that's not taking anything away from how good that match was.
I want to make a point too while you were talking. I know this is a far reach, but if Dax won the Owen Hart tournament, would it be, would that change anything? That'd be one thing to think about too.
That's a good point. I don't see that. Like, if he goes on to win, I don't see that happening. I don't see that me going back and saying, oh, this just makes that match the greatest match. But I do see where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's more of a remembrance standpoint.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, he is like, you know what I'm talking about, like when you're like reminiscing or whatever.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, so point for Mr. DDJ there. You got the point. And I think Sarah's earned the other point as well. All right, Dennis, why don't you talk about what you got going on, what you got coming up?
So, as many of you know, my show. Well, I can't say my show because Jovan's on here too. Our show, Shootin' Shit, just recently had an episode drop late last week. It is the first episode that we had where myself, Jovan, and our third man, the premier Joey K, were actually doing a show together. And it's the first time. What was it? We decided it was about almost 3 months, Jovan. And it's just it actually is our most watched episode too. So anybody that's watching the show that has listened to it, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. We got another show. I think we're going to probably be recording sometime around after I think you guys do the challenge or tomorrow. I can't remember off the top of my head when we decided, but we're trying to get back to putting out weekly shows where we're going to be catching up. Everybody giving our takes on the most what's going on in the world of pro wrestling. I'm sure, with Forbidden Door coming up, we're going to have a lot of AEW New Japan talk, and especially with all the news that's kind of developed, that's happened lately with New Japan, especially with the Bullet Club, and with tomorrow being the anniversary, I believe, 9 years of Bullet Club. I think our episode this week is going to be very Bullet Club centric. And Jovan, if you follow New Japan Pro Wrestling and know Giovanni Tuhati history on the show, you know why he's shaking his head when I talk about the stuff that's happened with Bullet Club, and we'll just leave it at that. So,
all right, 2 questions left. Sarah, you'll get to answer this one first. Jessie McKay and Cassie Lee apparently stepping away from wrestling, formerly known as the Inspiration and the Iconics. What do you think is next for them?
I think I read a little something that Jessica McKay has scored a role in a movie. I'm not sure what it is, but I said this the other night. I think I said this on my podcast and Dudes at Ringside as well. There's only so much you can accomplish, especially when you're a woman, because everybody knows Cassie Lee is married to
Sean Spears.
Thank you, Sean Spears. I didn't want to say Ty Dillinger. I was having a moment there. But, it's none of our business. But, who's to say they might be trying to start a family or, kind of like the Bellas, they took a break and done other things. These ladies probably are more likely doing the same thing, too. They're very entertaining. They're beautiful. They could. I think the sky's the limit for them. And so, will we see them again? Maybe, but I think this is not a goodbye forever. This is a see you later type of thing. Mm-hmm. I could be wrong, but you never know. So, it was kind of a surprise that they were stepping away, but sometimes you just got to, and maybe if things work out for them and they want to come back, I'm sure we'll all welcome them back with open arms.
Very much. Dennis.
So I know she mentioned, I know they have a podcast that they're doing, so I definitely see that continuing on. I definitely see Hollywood in their future, but I'm going to take it a little bit of a different step. I definitely see them showing up on either CBS, ABC, or NBC. I definitely see them doing some kind of, I could see them easily doing some sort of comedy show or something, because these two women together, when they were together in NXT and in the WWE before some no-name jabroni and creative decided it was a good idea to try to split them up, those two were pure comedic gold. And I think that very few duos, men or women, have that kind of chemistry that those two have on screen. And that kind of chemistry is something that can carry over like I said, either to the big screen, you know, like a movie like Sarah mentioned with, I believe it was Jessica McKay. But I could easily see them coming up with some sort of like sitcom show, like on NBC or something, especially with, you know, the WWE's, you know, ties with, you know, NBC, Universal and stuff. So maybe they have an in there. You know, obviously Sean Spears being a part of AEW, they're on, you know, Warner Media. So maybe they get something on, well, maybe, I don't know what the edict they handed down about the no more scripted shows or whatever. But I definitely see Hollywood in the future, but more specifically, I definitely see them coming up with a TV, some sort of comedy show on, like, say, either CBS or NBC. So that's what I think.
Jay, how do you feel?
All right. These two phenomenal wrestlers are truly iconic. I think beyond that, everyone's talking about their chemistry, how they are together, how they, you know, it just comes off the screen. It's because they're real life best friends. Then when you work with somebody that you're a good friend with, you don't ever really work a day in your life. You're just having fun. And that's what these two have. They have that chemistry where they're getting to work with their best friend every day. Jessica McKay doing a movie, or now, you know, confirmed that she's got this movie coming. It's a fantastic opportunity. She knew that would probably pull her away for a while. So I can see one friend going to another friend saying, hey, I've got this opportunity coming up for a movie. And if I'm your friend, I'm not going to tell you not to do it. I'm going to be there and say, let's go. Let's see what comes of this. Take your shot. And the thing is it's not that I don't think that either lady couldn't make it alone, but they're so much better together. And I feel they understand that their brand is them together. So if one of them has to make an extended period where they're not able to perform, where they're not able to be on shows, it's not fair to the other partner. And then their options are extremely limited. Impact Wrestling has women's tag teams titles. WWE has women's tag team titles. It's the only real game in town with tag team titles for the women. Nobody else really has that type of division, which they're the experts at. That's their domain. So I can see one friend going to the other and saying, I want to take this opportunity. You know how long I've been wanting this? And the other friend saying, go for it. So to me, it's the ultimate act of friendship, the iconics, the inspiration, whatever they were going to be moving forward. Put it on hold for a little bit. Let Jessica go, you know, fulfill her dream of being in whatever the movie she's trying to do. Cassie Lee has gotten back into bodybuilding. Let her do what she's doing to try to get into more competitions. Let them have their fun while they're away. But I do think we see them back again once they miss each other and they miss being in ring, they'll be back.
The name of the movie, which was being referenced that she's in, is called The Charisma Killers. Indie film due out in the fall.
I was going to say something about Cassie Lee's bodybuilding because I was thinking about that as he was talking, and then he mentioned it. I was like, oh, man.
Cassie Lee does have a YouTube channel. She used to do a bunch of stuff on. I don't know if she's been too active on it lately. I haven't seen anything from her. Maybe she gets back into that as well. But we're going to go for a point for Dennis here and a point for Jovan. Mr. The Hot One. All right, final question in the first round.
Sorry about that. I keep forgetting I mute my mic because I don't want the sound of my son playing SpongeBob videos carrying over. But I wanted to say real quick with Cassie Lee, with Jessica McKay doing this, I really like Jovan's taking this as kind of piggybacking off of that. If Cassie's looking for something to do, you know, maybe when, you know, Sean Spears breaks away from MJF, maybe she comes in to be his valet. Maybe she doesn't necessarily wrestle, but she's basically his mouthpiece or his valet. You know, I mean, Sean Spears is going to need something once he's done with MJF. So,
good point. Maybe she helps out at his wrestling school as well. Who knows?
That could be too. I like that. That's a very good one.
In AEW, they're not on the road as much, so it might allow for her to do her bodybuilding stuff or whatever as well. That would allow for that.
Very good point.
All right, last question for the first round. Dennis, you're up first.
All right.
Thunder Rosa and Serena Deeb may end up having a stipulation type match for the women's title. What kind of stipulation do you see being best fit for them?
Okay, so one thing that I really hope they go into with this, because they're so good at referencing the past when it comes to history, is remember Thunder Rosa is a former NWA Women's World Champion. Who beat her for that title?
Serena Deeb.
Exactly. So I really hope that gets brought into play. And I, for one, and Jovan can speak to this, I am very high on Serena Deeb right now. I think she's been killing it. I'm so excited to see what the future holds for her, and I'm so excited that it sounds like that she's going into a program with Thunder Rosa. But in terms of a stipulation match, I don't want it to be a cage match because we've already seen that. And I don't want it to be the unsanctioned match she had with Britt, because I think Deeb's doesn't do cage or that stuff. What I want to see, give me a good old fashioned 2 out of 3 falls match. I really think, or if not that, give me like a 30-minute Iron Woman match, because these two women can go, and they can go for an extended period of time, and I think they can showcase a lot. Give them 30 minutes for an Iron Woman match, or give them 40 for a 2 out of 3 falls match. I want to see who is the better woman, and I think when you do an Iron Woman or a 2 out of 3 falls match, that takes all the guesswork out, and you can clearly see who's the better. So give me one of those two.
Jay, what do you got?
Thunder Rosa, AEW's premier athlete when it comes to women's stipulation matches. Her and Britt Baker have basically written the book when it came to stipulation matches. Now, looking at the skill set, I love the Iron Woman match. I love that idea. But to me, this match is very personal, because Serena Deeb was the one who took that belt off of Thunder Rosa in NWA, which kind of was like the precursor to us thinking maybe she was going to be all elite, maybe she was going to be champ sooner. And that kind of led to her championship run. Her run-ins with Britt Baker and everything all stemmed from that loss to Deeb, which at the time was mind-blowing. So, hold on.
Wow.
So the only way that you rectify that kind of loss is by going to, well, hold on, guys.
Dude, I know the feeling. Trust me.
Okay. So I'm going to be quick about it because I don't know how long they're going to shut up. So the only way you get that kind of win back, the only way that you cement yourself as being the actual, not to be quote unquote, to be the man, you've got to beat the man. The way you get that respect back is a submission match. She has to tap Deeb. Deeb is the lady of 1,000 holds. You have to beat her at her game. I need to see a submission match.
Sarah, what do you got?
I like all those answers. Serena Deeb is the professor of professional wrestling. That's what she's billing herself as right now.
I love that, by the way.
Yes. And so you don't want to have anything too extreme. Both women can wrestle their ass off. So, I could see a submission match. I could see the 2 out of 3 falls, Iron Woman match. And something that I would like to see that hasn't been done in a long time with anybody, unless I don't know of one. How about a best of 5, best of 7 series or something?
Oh, I like that.
Could do something like that because, when you think about the women's division in AEW, you got those two. You got Britt Baker. I mean, you got some phenomenal talent, but there's not a whole lot going on either way. So if I think of, okay, who could be a number 1 contender? I think of Serena Deeb, and then I'm like, well, who else could be a number one contender? Toni Storm down the line, So I could see any of those working out. And my thing with a best of 5, best of 7, it keeps the feud going through the summer at least. Because they can do a match at Double or Nothing. They could do a match on Dynamite. They could do a match on Rampage. I mean, fans love both of these women, so I think they got so much in their arsenal. You could carry that through, but any of those matches would work. I would be happy with either of those. Nothing too extreme. Just give us some good wrestling.
Very good. I got this question from an interview that Serena Deeb did either today or yesterday, and she actually talked about pushing for an Iron Woman match. So, Dennis, you get the point because you were able to correctly guess kind of what's.
I didn't even know she did an interview, so that was just pure luck. One thing I want to say just real quick off of what Sarah said. I really like that best of 5, best of 7 because it makes me think about the one that they did with Booker T and Benoit and WCW. And really, you could almost start that at, let's just say, just hypothetically, you could have the first match at, Double or Nothing, and then you could stretch that out all the way and have it culminate it all out. I think that would be a really cool summer. It's when she said going through the summer, that's kind of my mind. Start it at Double or Nothing, finish it up at All Out.
Mm-hmm. The other thing that Serena Deeb did bring up during the interview was that they've already had 3 matches. Mm-hmm. So you could build it off, hey, we've already had 3, turn that into a best of 5 or best of 7. So I think Sarah gets the other point here on this one. All right, so that does it for our first round. Our top 2 point getters, Dennis and Sarah. So you guys move on to the final round.
Oh, Jovan, can you hear about this? We're going to hear about this on Shootin' Shit coming up.
All right, Dennis, you're in the lead. So I'm going to give you the choice of answering first or having Sarah go first.
You know what? I'm the kind of person that I like to set the bar, so I'm gonna go first.
All right. Early reports say Dark Side of the Ring was being canceled after Vice had not picked up season 4. However, today the official Twitter for Dark Side of the Ring is asking for episode ideas. Are they dead in the water yet?
I'm still gonna say, because I did see that, I'm still gonna say yes, and this is why. Because a lot of people have come out and said that some of the editing that they've done have kind of misconstrued some answers. I know they referenced the plane ride from, I'm going to say heck because my son's in here in the vicinity, and he likes to call me out if I say a bad word, which is good. I'm doing a good job. But they talked about how, I guess they got the thing that Vince and Linda were on the flight, which it was proven that they weren't. I know Jim Ross was really did not like the way that his answers were, like how the editing, how the finished product came out, and he's pretty much come out and said he's not doing it anymore. You think about what the show coming out, what it did to Flair when that episode come out. I know Tommy Dreamer was also really affected by that show because he was he was actually let go from Impact for a while, and his hosting duties on Sirius XM's busted open for a little while. I know he's since come back. And I think that we've seen a lot of the stories that a show like this would, entail or would cover. And I mean, I think that kind of that time is, it was a great time. You don't want it to become like, The Simpsons were after season 13 or whatever, the quality of the show has gone downhill. And stuff. And I think that, 3 seasons with a lot of great stories is enough. I've heard rumors that the Rock is, we talked about him earlier being his birthday, that he's come out and said that like his production company is working on something with the creators of Dark Side of the Ring, as well as Vice TV, to do something about the territories, which I would love to see. So, and so I'm going to say yes, because I don't want this show to become The Simpsons.
Good point. Sarah?
I would say yes, and I would say no, given those, given all those factors. The creators of this show, to me, they see, they came off to me as people who really cared about wrestling, and they really wanted to get that side of, other sides of the story. And the one thing that stood out during this whole 3 seasons is the fact that they got Dr. Martha Hart to be on the show and talk about, Owen pre-death, post-death, things like that. That was huge. And so I felt like it opened up a lot of eyes. The plane ride from hell, there was a lot of controversy with that, and that pretty much didn't do them any favors. With that being said, they might just be going in another direction. They can learn from what's going on here. Vince always says there's second chance. He always gives second chances. And I think that's like that in pro wrestling in general for most things. So I could see them, if they work with The Rock, they could definitely redeem themselves, because they did really good job on the series. One bad episode shouldn't ruin what they've done. Nobody's perfect. But I'm glad Tommy Dreamer is kind of coming out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And everything else that was going on, I don't know who's confirmed, who's denied. One person that was mentioned that's no longer with us, Scott Hall, we'll never know. So I mean, it's kind of one of those things you kind of like, maybe you didn't do the right choices here, but you've done some other awesome things, and you can just learn from that. Whether you get people like JR back on or whatever, great. If not, it is what it is. But I think these guys did a really good job. They really, they really love the wrestling. They've got a lot of stories and stuff. So, we'll see.
One thing I want to say, kind of what she said, it just made me think of this when she talked about the one bad episode shouldn't ruin a series. I got 3 words for you. Jump the shark. Think about what that did to the Happy Days.
Well, I wouldn't know, sir.
I'm a bit of a pop culture and TV and movie historian, so
okay.
And stuff. But it just, if people out there that are, the older crowds and stuff, they that's actually where the term jumping the shark came from. So
I got you.
Yeah, definitely. They've got to make it up to a lot of people. Maybe I can see them going to maybe a YouTube only kind of series.
Mm-hmm.
If Vice doesn't want to pick them back up, but working with The Rock will definitely be huge. You guys both bring up good points here. I think we can go co-champions on this one. I don't think there's really any real clear-cut winner. You guys, we'll call you both winners and both move on to tournament champions this summer.
All right.
Well done. I'm okay with that.
Yes.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget to check back here on Wednesday. Joe and I bring back season 2 of Acquired Tastes. Of course, Bucklebomb Live will be sometime this week, Thursday or Friday night. And everybody else, we'll link everybody's stuff in the description for YouTube when that is up tomorrow. Otherwise, have a great night, everyone.
Thank you.